And I think it was from that experience when Rapunzel left her and she was saying, "Children won't listen." It was so beautiful and so sad. And I thought, wow, I wonder if that is what my mother felt when I first left the college. And then just kept on going through school and never came home. You know. So, yeah.
What type of research did you conduct for your dissertation? Was it qualitative or quantitative, and why?
Yeah, I think it would be considered more qualitative. There are sections in the beginning where I talk about what other universities are doing, what kind of plays and actors they're using for their plays. I'm sorry, that happens. Can you? Oh, you know what to do.
I was going to come turn the light back on.
Yeah, but how did you know that? Yeah. Sorry, that happens because the robe is there. Sorry. It freaked me out the first time it happened. Right. I do some research in my first chapter where I compare the financial success between professional theaters and academic theaters, and how much money they make in relation to whether or not they use cross-cultural casts or they use all white or all black. So there's some research to that, but for the most part, I use my research is based on how successful cross-cultural casting has been at the academic level, and then to find what has been successful from that and how we can parlay that into the professional theater. Because if we get more cross-cultural casts in the academic level, if we can get our students to start thinking that way, and our directors to start thinking that way, and our patrons who attend to start thinking that way, then that can parlay into professional theater, which means more of our black or Hispanic or whomever ethnic groups can get more work at the professional level. So I wanted to examine how and when and why it's happening on the academic stage. And then what are the financial prospects of that happening at the academic level, and how that can transfer onto the professional stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is for undergraduates to complete a course in research methods?
Oh my goodness. I think they should complete 2 courses, Research 1, Methods 1, and Research Methods 2. Well, I could use myself for example. Had I not had my research methods I didn't get research methods until my master's program. And had I not had that, I don't know what my dissertation process would have been, what my thesis process would have been like. It is essential because it just teaches you the basics, and sometimes just knowing the basics gives you, the basics of research gives you the confidence to keep going, if that makes any sense. With my dissertation, I don't know where I would be, Dejanay, if I didn't understand the basics of research, being able to find journals and articles and the differences between MLA and APA, and how to write footnotes, just simple things, how to find information from museums, how to order things, simple things that I learned in my research methods class, that if I were to have just say started my research, I'd be dead in the water and probably discouraged. Mm-hmm. And one would have stopped and given up, because the reality, for my dissertation chair, I sent him a chapter and he reads it with his comments, and that's it. And he says, it's probably a good idea for you to pay someone to read this over, to check the MLA, but really I can do that myself. I just haven't spent a lot of time. I was just concerned about getting my chapters out. So, I've just been prepared in so many ways in my research methods course that if I didn't have it, I would feel lost and probably give up, like I said before.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people in research methods need to hear that because no one likes to take that class.
No one likes it until you have to write that thesis, Dejanay, or that. No one likes it until you have to do something big like this where your career depends on it.
All right. What are some areas in your discipline that you are working on now?
Well, right now, I'm perfecting that last chapter. I'm getting my appendix together, and the few loose ends I'm trying to add to the dissertation. So that's what I'm working on now. As far as creative scholarship, we are about to do Color Purple in the fall, and I'm designing that. That's 36 actors on stage, right? You got to get the time period, and then you've got to clothe 36 people, right? It's an incredible amount of work. So creative research, that's the next thing after I'm approved this summer for my dissertation. The other thing that I've had waiting on the side is a play that I wanted to write. I'm married to a white man, Richard, my husband. And when we were dating, this was actually 5 years ago, when we were dating back in Texas, I was visiting him, and he rented a house with 2 other roommates. And someone had left a doll, a black Cabbage Patch doll, and a letter on the windshield of his roommate's car. And I wish I could have pulled it up for you before we started, but I took a picture of the doll and the letter, and then eventually threw it away because my mom was sure that there would be some spirits or something. So I threw it away, but I took a picture because I wanted to remember. And the letter had said something to the effect of, "This black baby loves malt liquor and fried chicken and hates white people." I can show you a copy of the letter, and I had crinkled up and threw it away, and I'd taken it back out to take a picture of it after I took a picture of the doll. And then I remember my husband Richard, no one knew who it was from at the time, and I was very upset, and he was very upset, and it was amazing to me that his roommate who had come in and pulled it off his car was just sort of snickering, and I thought, you should be really disturbed about this. This is stereotypical and prejudiced, and why would anybody leave that on your car? It's not a funny thing. And so I remember maybe it was like a week later, because we didn't know it would come from. A week later, we find out that it was another friend of the roommates who had left this doll in the car, and they thought it was a big joke. And it was uncomfortable for my husband to go and confront that person because they had been friends. And what was the point of it? Why was it, what was the point of it? Mm-hmm. And if it was not directed at me, because it didn't have to be, why would you do something so incredibly ignorant and then laugh about it? And so that was difficult. But after I'd had some time to step away from it, I thought that would be a great play. The events leading up to a bunch of roommates discovering this thing on their car.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
You want to see me?
I'm just speaking.
I just doing a little recording with